So do your inventory. We had, I think, wasn't it you that said you had more drying racks? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows if I'll be alive next year, the way I'm going. So I think the guild, that is something that we need, drying racks. And I would suggest getting metal ones because the wood ones pick up the dye from a dye lot, and then there's a lot of people that don't want that spot of red, even though when you spin it, you're never going to see it, but you know.
Yeah.
So, and then I have handouts, and I'll give master copies. I'll put those in when we get to doing the inventory after this. But this is the other thing. I bring my own uh, tanks, propane tanks, because we can't store them in anywhere. So you're going to either need to buy tanks, and Michael says, my husband says it's too expensive, that I should just get our old tanks refilled, but there's problems with that too. So I just go to the Rhino and I have them refilled. Now, if the guild was to buy 2 tanks, we probably don't even use a quarter of the tank all day. Like, I can probably go 6 months dyeing every day on one 5-gallon propane tank. So, but you need 2 because you've got 2 sets of burners. The burners seem like they're just doing great today. They do get a little warm. The flame kind of goes a little high on low. So you just have to turn the pot or take it off for a minute or 2 or whatever. So, and then usually we have a hospitality person that checks people in and makes sure that they're members, because really this is a member privilege to come to this, and so non-members not so much. I mean, they can come and observe happily, and people have been coming through from the museum all day long, and that's how we get new members too. So we need someone here that would take a membership or renew dues or something like that. We have solved the water issue. We were having people dump the water by the ox barn or throwing acid water into the flower beds. It was a nightmare. So we talked long and hard, and we are able to use the sink, the wash hands only sink in the museum. And then that water goes into the water treatment plant. We do have a litmus test that you could test to see if it's too acid, but we use so little acid that Mona moved. Shh, don't tell her. Maybe edit that part out. And so, I just don't think the amount of water. I mean, I have a French drain that goes to my garden, and it ends at the redwood tree, and it's just doing fine. And I do way more dyeing than just this one day. So, the burners. They got the propane tank, the burners, and there's a lot of equipment in the boxes. So, but I think the boxes need to be labeled a little better. So now you're up to April, and then May. People are thinking about black sheep and what's going to go on. So in the May meeting, I think I would say, hey, if you want to dye fiber, because we haven't allowed sales here, because we had a problem with that. Somebody was using the guild dye and acid, and then dyeing and then selling the fiber here to people at Dye Day. And so we didn't, this is a member activity, not a member subsidy. So I have fiber for people who just need it or want it. There's a lot of people that donated fiber. We get donations all the time. So I like that idea a little bit better than something else, like sewing, because then I mean, that's what the April Fiber Fair is for. But then, if you feel differently, that's up to you.
Yep.
And then, so what you need is a crew that is healthy to put up the pop-ups. Neither Judy or I are able to do that. So that for us has been kind of a hassle.
And are the 5 of them owned by the guild, or do people bring some?
We have 2, and the guild and the museum has. Well, I know the museum has that yellow one. So I think we only put up 3 because Diane put our own. Diane McKinnon, and she. If you want her to do a really good dye class, mentorship, she also does a excellent job, but she really doesn't like to stay all day long. So she likes in the morning, because most people do. Most of the slots fill right away at the early morning, and we had all the dye slots filled this morning, and we had empty dye slots. So I'm not really sure what happened, because it didn't. I knew it. It doesn't matter, you just go with the flow, and people didn't register. And so if there's an empty dye pot and nobody using it, I don't see why, unless they turn up and say, hey, I'm 9:30, and then you just,
So the slots are 9:30 to
11:30. We
11:30.
did it an hour and a half, and it's not long enough to clean up your mess and decide your colors.
Okay.
The deciding of colors and how you're going to do it, because there's so many different looks and ways and rovings and